Welcome back. You're watching Game On. So we were whispering something to Brian. Is it about
I'll just tell him what a wonderful tie you have.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm pretty sure that this was not the case in point.
No. I just felt how dapper you are, you know.
Oh,
I was just trying to get that over.
I think you're the most handsome-looking cricketer I've ever come across. Ian, now coming on to Mitchell Starc once again, and you just mentioned that obviously this was expected from him. Do you really think that spearheading Australia's attack would be the decisive to their match against England?
Well, one guy is not going to win you the game. Not very often. Might happen occasionally, but not very often, especially in 50-over cricket. But you know, he's an important part, mainly because he's got the capability of getting wickets early, and then, as we saw yesterday, can run through the tail in a big hurry. So yeah, that's the sort of guy who can take 5 wickets. I mean, you get a couple with a new ball, and then you knock 3 tail enders over in an over and a half. 5 wickets. I mean, 5 wickets will go a long way towards winning you a one-day game. But if the opposition have 300, one of your batsmen's got to get 100. Sure. So one guy is rarely going to win a 50-over game, but he's a big part of their team.
Adam Zampa coming back of John Hastings. Then the way he got those 2 wickets, probably he was lucky, and the batsmen, they just out both of them. So do you really think that Zampa was up there with the required ability which he needed to show?
I think Steve Smith uses him pretty shortly, quite in sort of situations where the other bowlers have bowled very well, the opposition are dragging the chain a bit with the run rate, and he says, righto, you have a bowl, Adam. And in those circumstances, he's pretty good. He'll bowl tidily. Blokes try to get after him. He gets a lot of his wickets caught in the outfield. He doesn't get too many guys. He'll get a few because he keeps the ball pretty well out the stumps. But he gets a lot of guys caught in the outfield. But I mean, you don't care how you get them out. And where he's good for Australia is he can get you some wickets in those middle overs, which is crucial in this game.
And my other question to you, and then I move on to Webb, is like Bangladesh lost their first wicket in the 6th over, the second, 7th, the third in the 17th over, and still Steve Smith had to wait until the 35th over to so I think it was a wise thing to do?
Well, that's the way he often uses him. I think he's not totally flexible. He's a pattern. That if the demands it. He's a captain who he captains according to the way the game's going, and if it's going the way he expects it or hopes it to go, then that's the pattern you'll get with Zampa. But if it's a situation where he needs a wicket or 2, you might see Zampa come on earlier. I think he's okay as a captain, Steve Smith.
So you're okay with Steve Smith introducing Zampa in the 35th over, as Ian says, as he endorses?
They got them for on the 200.
Yeah.
That to me is a result.
Okay.
So and what Ian said is so correct. That you do the things, I guess, to suit the team, not what you think other folks may be thinking. And if you can get results like that, and that happens every time that you can get the opposition on the 200, that's a serious plus.
All right. And so let me deviate a little. This guy has become a blockbuster hit in Pakistan after telling the world that he is comfortable in Islamabad. So
I am too.
You are too.
Doesn't it look comfortable?
No, that's because of me. You're a very good host.
To be fair, I think Ian did mention as well that there's quite a lot of things happening around the world, especially what's just taking place in London. The world is a serious place today. There's lots of threats right around the world. So I guess Pakistan would have suffered over the years because of certain little incidents that they would have had. But I'm comfortable. I'm feeling good. The security factor, everything is great. When you're flanked by Brian Lara and the Gradient Chapel, I'm safe.
You're safe.
We got your back. We got your back.
Sir, but sitting next to Brian, you still feel safe?
All the time, yeah.
I just can't say it on here, but he made me jealous.
No, I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle. So if anything's going to come aside, I guess I stand a good chance.
Okay. So Brian, how do you feel? Because now you must be applying for the Pakistan nationality. You were here for almost a month during the ICC World T20.
Yeah, it was excellent. Actually, forged a relationship with Glenn McGrath.
Yeah.
My nemesis. It was good. I think.
Who did he replace?
Yeah.
I think he replaced someone before that who was originally was supposed to be here.
Oh yeah, Sir Vivian Ritchie.
Thank you so much.
Oh, is that true? I didn't know that.
But he was having his health issues, so he
Yeah.
regretted coming during that period.
I said, let me give.
So Brian, how do you feel being in Pakistan?
I think it's been excellent. As I said, it's been my second time.
Yeah.
And not the fact that I travel to the studio every single day and back to the hotel, but I also see it as a very peaceful time for me. So, you know, watching cricket, spending time at the hotel, in the gym. Also, it's a very healthy opportunity for me as well. Living in the Caribbean with different spices. So for me, it's comfortable, and as you know, it's not a second guest incoming. So I've always enjoyed myself here, and I'll be back.
Okay, so you're comfortable.
If Viv is sick and you need me.
Oh my God.
Worry about in the modern day game.
Yeah.
And especially when you're going to have an umpire who is signaling to the batter that's or to the bowler, that's your quarter for in that over. I have a problem with that. You know, that to me indicates that you are telling the batsman what shot he should look to play next. And in maybe in the 70s and in the 80s, it was an opportunity, I guess, for that surprise delivery. That doesn't seem to be happening anymore, because sometimes when you hit one, the umpire is telling you, well, that's it, and you are aware of what's coming next. And sometimes batsmen, in my opinion, can prepare themselves because of those particular situations.
Ian, you're two dimes on this, because you were yourself a fantastic horizontal bat shot player.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm against any restriction in bounces as a player, because it would have cut down my scoring a hell of a lot if they pitch him up. But I agree with Viv. I don't like the fact that the umpire's saying, you know, that's one, and the bounce has got to have a surprise element to it.
Yeah.
I mean, there must be a better way to regulate, and I think there was. I mean, the regulation was there when we played. The umpire, there was I think it was Law 42, intimidatory bowling. And, you know, if the umpire felt that, I mean, and it's also up to the umpire a bit. I mean, if it's somebody bouncing Viv can look after himself. But if it's, you know, Andy Roberts bouncing number 11 and giving him 3 in an over, well, the umpire should step in and say, hang on, mate, you know, you're a good bowler, you can knock this guy over. But, you know, this, you know, that's one. I don't like that. It's
Too predictable.
Yeah, it
Too
is,
predictable.
yeah.
So Brian, as a batsman, how would you see this?
Well, I mean, I played most of my career. There was the rule was in place.
Yeah.
I would see it as something, not batsmen being scared because, you know, and held by the fact that it was now 2 short balls and I could feel comfortable after 2. But I felt sometimes, you know, a bowler will get the ball above your head and you may have to score quickly and then you can't get it. They got deep backward square leg set, a deep fine leg and a third man, and everything is passing head high and you have to fan at it. There's also that intimidating factor. Some batsmen, not just the lower order, some top order batsmen don't like the fact that the ball is, you know, whizzing around their heads. But I believe that it brings more balls into play. I mean, 70, 80 years ago, they had the Borderline series, and amount of guys on your leg side, guys, you know, majority guys behind the bat. It is 6 of one, half a dozen the other. I think if I had to cope with it, I don't see any problem in coping with it. And they had, you know, great players of the past. They weren't troubled by it at all. You know, you look at videos with Viv facing Dennis Lilly. It was a great contest, and then people still look at these videos today.
So okay. So don't you think that this has actually contributed in modern batsmen not really being playing the short deliveries?
You know what? I think it's more the front foot technique is making it more difficult. There's still some decent hookers around and good pullers around, but to me, it's much harder to pull. You know, there's very few guys. Viv could do it. A couple of other guys could do it, but to me, it was always much easier to hook off the back foot.
Okay.
But with the modern, you know, the protective equipment, I think the batsman now feels less inhibited in going forward to the fast bowlers, and it's hard. One thing about hooking off the front foot is it's harder to get inside the line of the ball.
All right.
You know, hooking off the back foot, you get inside the line of the ball. And to me, that was the important thing with hooking, because, you know, I always used to describe it when I talked to the young blokes at the academy. I'd say, you're taking the fear factor out of the ball, out of the shot.
Yeah.
Because if you're hooking from here, if you miss it, it's going to miss you.
Yeah.
And the way I would describe it is, I'd say to the young bloke, if you're standing, even if you're standing behind a tennis, you know, the fence, the wire fence, you're that side, I'm this side. You know there's a fence between you. But if I throw the ball straight at you, even though you know there's wire there, you'll flinch, because it's just a natural thing. So if you're hooking, you know, right off your nose, you'll turn your head. Whereas when you're hooking from here, you suddenly take the danger out of your mind. So
I think it's definitely not the rule, the two bounce rule. I think it's more the protective care. I mean, I remember being struck by Shoaib Akhtar,
2004.
and I simply lost the ball.
Yeah.
And if you don't have on a helmet, you'd find the ball. You'd try to find it. I turned my back to it, and it hit me at the back of the neck. It missed my helmet. But you're thinking it's going to hit your back, it's going to hit your helmet, and you're going to be fine. But if you got, you know, that cap on or no sort of protection, I promise you, if you lost it, you'll try to find it before it gets to you.
That's exactly right. I mean, and probably a lot of people have said to Viv, you know, how does you bat without a cap, without a helmet, and you don't get hit? I said, mate, you've got a vested interest in not getting hit, because you know it's going to hurt like hell.
That's right. And especially, in those days, I never used a mouthpiece.
Yeah.
Because I've always felt that
you want to talk.
What my chewing gum? My chewing gum, I didn't want to be without my chewing gum.
Yeah.
So at the end, obviously, could have killed me.
Yeah.
But his brother, Ian, his brother, Greg, at the showground, I went maybe to try and nullify that swing factor and still try to do it from the front foot. Yeah. And he just smushed me, went straight back down the wicket.
Oh, right.
You know,
and he laughed.
I just
and Greg said, turn it up, Viv, you're not supposed to laugh.
Yeah, but that night I went to bed, man, with a heavy head because I felt one of those so-called giants from medieval times. You know, it was pretty tough, and I felt pretty embarrassed about it because it wasn't the fastest bowler in Australia at the time, who was Dennis Lilly,
of course,
but Greg Chappell.
But just before you change the topic, though, 100% in favor of the protective gear, because you know, we have to protect the players. So I think it was great for that to come.
Phil Hughes was like the miserable part which could happen to the national.
But there's some who have used the helmet as a protection as well, and for them to have survived as long as they did.
Okay.
And you had guys, you know, who couldn't hook at times, but they felt because they had this suit of armor that they could accomplish anything. And those are the guys who would be hit more often.
Okay.
I think there's many more players hit now, and that's because they've got all the protective equipment on. And I think the attitude of certainly every cricketer was, I could get hit and it could hurt a bit, but I won't get killed. Everybody thought that until Phil Hughes. Now they think everyone thinks differently now.
Yeah, absolutely. So Brian, the interesting part, that was a 1994-95 Test match at Rawalpindi, and Stephen Waugh, he was batting and he got 98 innings, and Wasim Akram was bowling, and if I'm not mistaken, Barry Jarman was like the match referee. He called Wasim for intimidating Steve Waugh. So like a recognized caliber of Stephen Waugh.
Well, there are times where Steve Waugh did play the bouncer like a number 11.
So he was a recognized
do I need to add to that comment?
I tell you what, if I was in the top six, if I was batting in the top six, I'd be embarrassed. And if the referee came to me and said, look, I'm going to speak to the bowler the fact that he intimidated you, I'd say to the referee, please don't go anywhere near the bowler. I'd be embarrassed if a referee's going to say, I'm a batsman and I've been intimidated by a fast bowler.
So we see Mitchell Starc picking up those 4 wickets yesterday.